Welcome to Discovering. Tonight, another successful turkey hunt, this time on the eastern end of the UP with Ruby Red Outfitters.
We're on a turkey hunt, possibly the best turkey hunt of my life.
And the Natural Resources Commission recently approved proposed regulation changes for the upcoming deer season and fall turkey hunting season. I have a recap of what those changes are.
From an archery standpoint, there's actually a lot of consistency now going into this year.
So sit back and relax. It's Monday night, and it's time for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
I was invited to the Cedarville area on the eastern end of the UP for some turkey hunting with Tony Ruffing of Ruby Red Outfitters. Tony and I did some scouting in the evening to see if we could find where some birds were roosting.
My wife and daughter and I, we just moved up here. We started the process about a year ago. Just a beautiful place up here. My wife and I have been coming up here for years, and we just decided, hey, let's go for it. We absolutely fell in love with the community, fell in love with the area. The ample opportunities for outdoors. Obviously we're out here today on a turkey hunt, but grouse, woodcock, upland species, deer hunting is fairly decent over this way. Since moving up here too, we decided to maybe try to start an outfitter program. We're called Ruby Red Outfitters. As far as I know, we're the only turkey hunting outfitter in the eastern UP, anyways. But yeah, we just started this year. Got my guide's license. Got all the formalities taken care of. It's a process, but we're excited about it.
Tony's friend Brandon also joined us and came up to the UP from Ohio to hopefully harvest his first turkey.
My name is Brandon Reynolds. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I drove up here to hang out with two of my best friends, Tony included. This is my third year turkey hunting. I have never gotten a turkey yet. I've never gotten one within 45 yards during season. Out of season, when I'm looking for deer, they seem to be all over the place.
In the morning, we set up on one of those spots we checked because even though we did not hear any birds last night, Tony has seen them on this property.
First, we had a Jake come in. He had to have been within 30 yards, but just a wall of brush and stuff that we couldn't see him.
It felt like that Jake was gonna just walk right in between the three of us.
He came out of nowhere. We had to walk right under him this morning.
It was exciting right away, and then the gobbler moved out further and further away from us.
Had a hen right away. Pretty sure she drug him off, and we had him talking. We had three groups of birds talking this morning.
Three at least.
Just couldn't get anything to commit, and they kind of went to the other side of the property boundary where we couldn't get to them. And
we'll grab the decoys. We'll walk down this edge and come back up the road that we came on. Try to get set up on that road.
Our second sit of the morning also yielded no turkeys in sight. Instead of calling it quits for the morning, we moved on to a new location on public land where Tony had also seen some turkeys.
I've been hearing birds out here for a couple weeks. Just haven't set up on them in the morning or anything, just kind of been scouting and kind of holding off, just waiting for some folks to come up, and we found some fresh sign.
That's deceiving, but that's not that old of a track.
Found some pretty fresh looking tracks, and I figured they probably had to be back there. We just had to get on top of them before we were gonna hear them.
Some days you just gotta get in their bubble before they'll talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but there's just days where you just gotta get on them. And you especially love hunting in woods where there's a lot of oaks where they can roost. I like hunting in woods where there's turkeys. I get it. You try to set yourself up the best you can, but it's like anything else. You got on them where they're at, not where you want them to be.
5 minutes later and 20 yards down the trail, I got my glass call out, scratched a few times, and he hammered off at us, and boy, they come right in.
When people say your heart's beating in your throat, they're not joking.
They didn't come in gobbling their heads off. He only gobbled the one time, but we watched him come right in and, just did some light scratching, some light calling, and that's all it took. A little touch and go there for a second, but he probably got within about 15, 20 yards of you, and give her the old whack, and down he went.
Heck yeah.
Wow. Is your heart beating as much as mine? When I saw you run. You hear me? I was like, kill it, Brandon, kill it.
We saw the one over here, and then I was like, oh, okay, they're over there. I could see him. He was about, 40 yards, 35, whatever. And then you said, oh, there's a second one. I saw him come in.
Could not have worked out better, because it's open enough that they can see, but it's thick enough that we can hide.
That was the most,
Oh yeah.
I almost tackled you. Wow. Everything happened so fast. I don't think they knew we were here. They heard something. You were barely calling. And we heard them scratching as well.
I like to play off of what they do. If they're not talking much, I'm not gonna talk much.
Wow.
See how busted up the tips of his wings are?
Yeah.
He's been strutting a bunch. See how flat that is?
Yeah.
A fresh molt that would have more of a round feather like what this one is.
Yeah.
But he's just clipped off. I'm guessing he's a Jake, but he's probably like in a gang of Jakes, he's probably a more dominant Jake.
Yep. First turkey I've ever got in my whole life with my best people.
His head was right on the other side, because you said get him, and I couldn't see him because he was behind this tree. And then he just poked, and I said, I've got enough range for this.
Successful e-harvest confirmation.
Brandon tagged the bird electronically using the new Michigan DNR app and physically tagged it too.
That was the best. It was my first turkey, but that was, from hearing the gobbles in the morning and then coming here and hearing one gobble and then seeing two turkeys come in within 15 yards after all the lead up, after seeing all the signs, all the strategy, being patient, waiting. This was a magical hunt. My first day in Michigan, and we get to see that. I'll remember this for the rest of my life.
The first property we hunted that morning, Tony had hunted the week before and called in more than just turkeys.
He had a very interesting encounter. We got out there about the same time as we did this morning, just about half hour, 20 minutes before daylight. Kind of almost tick for tack of what we had this morning. We had quite a few birds gobbling and talking. Just couldn't get them to commit all the way. We decided to try to make a move on some birds, and as I went out to grab the decoys, I looked up about 60 yards away. Was two wolves standing there staring at me, and we kind of locked eyes and tried to figure each other out for a second. They kind of turned and trotted off the other way. I had a good friend of mine, Jeff, was with me. He was filming for me that day. He came out with his camera. He got him on film. And what we thought was two wolves turned into 4, turned into 6. Then all of a sudden, before we know it, there are 8 wolves standing right out in the middle of the open at about 9:30 in the morning. And it solved the question pretty quickly as to why the birds that we had gobbling for us for the last 2 hours all of a sudden went quiet and moved off with really no rhyme or reason to. We discovered pretty quickly as the 8 wolves split off into 2 pairs, assuming to go, they were going to hunt something. 4 of them went directly towards where the 2 toms and the hen that they were with were standing. So it was interesting. It's as kind of a newer resident to the UP. I've had turkey hunts go awry in a number of ways, but having them get busted up by a group of wolves is definitely a first for me.
Jumping ahead from spring turkey to fall turkey, the Michigan Natural Resources Commission recently approved some big changes to the fall turkey season.
Prior to the change that the commission just made, we had fairly complex fall turkey regulations. So we had a bunch of units in the Lower Peninsula. The UP has been its own unit, so the whole UP is one unit. We used a drawing system. But most people were buying licenses over the counter. They were waiting for leftovers. We had bag limits, and if you had your unit had extra, you could buy 1 fall turkey license a day until they were gone, so you could take multiple birds. In the Upper Peninsula, the 1 unit had a quota of 1,700, and it frequently sold out as leftovers. So there's always this little pot of licenses where we had people apply that didn't actually buy their license, and those licenses never become leftovers. So we would sell out, but then there was always a few that never got used because the people that had applied just didn't buy their license.
That combined with lack of sufficient harvest to effect population change, the DNR adjusted the purpose of the fall turkey season to provide recreational opportunity as opposed to population control.
And what we did is recommend a whole bunch of changes to increase flexibility and simplicity. In the UP, you already had a system that was fairly simple. You had 1 unit, but starting this fall, the UP will still have a license quota, but no drawing. So the licenses will go for sale over the counter. I believe it's August 15th at 10 in the morning. That's when we've been selling turkey licenses for years. So everyone will know when they go on sale, they'll have a chance to just go buy one. They don't have to worry about the drawing. And we increased the quota from 1,700 to 2,200. So 500 more licenses available. The season length is the same. You can still take either sex bird. We did put a cap so you can only get 1 license. And we did that because it simplifies regulations.
We are less than 5 months away from the start of the white-tailed deer seasons here in Michigan. During their last meeting, the Michigan Natural Resources Commission approved a couple regulation changes that will impact UP hunters. For the past decade, deer hunters in the Superior watershed, also known as the high snowfall zone, have not been able to harvest antlerless deer.
And that was a change that was initiated in 2015 after we had those really severe winters in 2013, 2014, and we know that the deer population, the deer harvest was very low following those really hard successive winters. Our commission at that time removed the opportunity for archers to take antlerless deer on that deer or deer combination license in those units. And it's been sort of a polarizing topic since that time.
This year, what's commonly referred to as doe with a bow has been reinstated.
The big change is allows archers the opportunity to take antlerless deer with either their deer or their combination license in those 7, what I would call the Lake Superior units. So it's 007, 031, 042, 048, 066, 127, and 131. If you are out during the archery season, whether it's early or late, you can burn either one of those tags on an antlerless deer. You can purchase your combo license. You've got your 3-point to a side regular tag, your 4-point to a side restricted tag, and then you've got your antlerless option on either one of those tags that you can use throughout the entirety of the archery season. If you tag your deer there, then you're giving up one of your buck opportunities.
Last year, an added restriction was put in place where antlerless harvest was prohibited after December 10th in the mid-snowfall zone DMUs.
The ruling this year did away with that expiration date as well. So now, throughout the entirety of the archery season, archers will be eligible to take antlerless deer on either one of those licenses.
Jordan Hoover is the chair of the recently formed UP Deer Advisory Team, who supports antlerless harvest across the UP.
Last year, the DMI team made the same recommendation to restore the archery doe tag to the Superior watershed, not without contentious discussion, passionate discussion, no doubt. There's some strong feelings on that issue. And it was no different this year in the DAT. I mean, there's people on both sides of the issue on our team, but ultimately our vote passed on a 60-40 line with 2 members absent who didn't vote. So that's a pretty healthy majority. And I feel confident and I feel comfortable that we did the right thing with that. And I think that we see very clearly the value and the necessity in a balanced buck-to-doe ratio for all the biological reasons.
A new regulation that was supposed to take effect for the 2025 deer season was antlerless-only harvest for the Liberty and Independence hunts statewide. That controversial regulation was proposed by NRC commissioners, and this year they reversed that decision.
The summary is that if you are eligible to hunt the Liberty hunt or the Independence hunt, this year you may take either an antler deer or antlerless deer, the way it's always been.
The Michigan United Conservation Clubs support hunters in these special hunts having the ability to choose whether they want to harvest an antlered or antlerless deer.
So at our convention in March of 2025, kind of in response to the commission removing antlered opportunity for the Independence and Liberty hunts, our membership adopted via 2/3 majority a policy to support reinstatement of antlered opportunity for those special hunts. The justification and the rationale that they use is that it's such a negligible amount of harvest that lacking any objective data as to why that opportunity should be removed, that we should put that opportunity back, let the kids, let the hunters with disabilities, let our veterans, shoot what makes them happy. We don't necessarily disagree with the goal of destigmatizing antlerless harvest in areas that need it, because there are pockets of the state that need it. But lacking something to point to that says, hey, removing this opportunity is going to help either the long-term health of the herd, help hunter recruitment, help something. We just felt that for the few thousand deer that are taken during those hunts, we should let them shoot what they want.
It definitely seems like deer hunting regulations keep changing every year, and the DNR hopes to get back into a regular 3-year regulation cycle.
2026 is what we would call our 3-year standard cycle. It doesn't sound like most people probably don't believe, and they would be right, that we're on a cycle, but we actually are, because we seem to be changing deer regulations every year. We'd really like to get back to that 3-year cycle where we make a set of recommendations and actually allow them to go through for the entirety of that time so we can gauge the impact of it. we're going to really try to focus on that this coming year.
That's all for tonight, and I hope to see you right back here next week for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.